I mean, when Goggins lived with me, his rule is we had to do something every day that sucked. That was his rule.
He's the master at that.
Yeah, tell me about it. And
what did he make you do?
Every day sucked. He didn't tell me that we're going to do that 5 times a day. That, you know. No, I mean, I remember one day, well, the first thing we did was he came and he wanted to see how many pull-ups I could do so he could map out the month. He lived with me for a month. And I went to the pull-up bar, and I got like maybe 8 pull-ups, which is an exaggeration. I probably got like 4 pull-ups. You know? A lot of people are listening, so I'll say 8. And then he said, all right, wait 30 seconds, go and do it again. And I went up on the pull-up bar, and I did maybe like 3 or 4. He said, all right, wait 30 seconds, I want you to do it again. And I got up on the pull-up bar, and I did maybe like 1 kipping, you know, getting my damn chin over the bar, barely. And I dropped down, I was all jacked up, and I said, all right, well, what's next? He said, well, what's next is we're not leaving here until you do 100 more. We're not leaving the gym until you do 100 more.
That day?
Now. Like right now.
Right now. So you had done
like,
7.
I did like probably 7 or 10, and I was like, man, Goggins, that's impossible. And he said, you know, I already know what your biggest problem is. And he's like, the limitations you're putting on yourself are self-imposed. Get the fuck back on the bar. And, you know,
Jesus
Roger
Christ.
that, man. And I got up on the bar, and I over the course of an hour or 2, I did them. And that started our journey of like, you're about to go in a place where you've never been, motherfucker, you know? And, you know, we went, I remember one day I was sitting on the couch and in Connecticut where I was living at the time, and on the ticker on the TV, the emergency broadcast system came up. Stay inside, freezing rain, icy conditions, high winds, stay inside. It was like beeping, stay inside. And Goggins was like, this is amazing, man. Let's go for a run. And I'm like, they're telling us the exact opposite, man. They're broadcasting to the whole community to stay inside.
Right.
So we go for a 10-mile run in the blizzard, and we come home, and I lived on a lake, and kids are playing hockey on the lake. So we go down, and he takes his hand, and he moves all the snow off the ice. He gets a boulder, and he breaks the ice, a little hole in the ice with the boulder, and then he takes his hand, and he makes the hole a little bit bigger, and then he jumps in. And then he points at me, and he takes his finger, and he signals for me to jump in. I'm not going in the fucking freezing cold water, because my mother told me as a kid in Long Island, don't go anywhere near the frozen water. If you fall in, you have like a minute, you know?
Right.
He's bathing in it. So, of course, I go in, and he looks at me, he's like, man, you got about 2 to 4 minutes, you're going to get hypothermia. We just went on a run. We got to get you out of the lake. And I go to get out. He goes, you can't get out. He goes, if your skin touches the ice, it's going to stick to the ice like the kid in Christmas Story, his tongue that sticks to the pole, you know? So he puts my shoes back on my hands and picks my ass up and I put my socks on or whatever, and I bear crawl out of the ice, and I run up, and I see my wife looking out the window as I'm running into the house, and we come in, and she says to Goggins, you know, like, what's the medical benefit of jumping in a frozen lake? And he said to her, there's no medical benefit. She's like, this is what your husband signed up for. You know, he's like, I want to see how far he's willing to go to get to his goals. And I was like, fuck, this is going to be some 30 days, man. Jesus.
Wow. What was the toughest thing he made you do?
It was just the consistency of it. You know, it was just he went everywhere I went. He shadowed me for 30 days. He went to every business meeting. We flew together. He lived, with my wife and I.
Did you think, like, what the fuck did I sign up for?
This is back in 2010. So this is, yes, I did. I was.
And the book came out 2 years ago?
No, I waited 5 years. I didn't, expect it to ever be a book. It was just like, at all. There was no book being discussed. I kept a little blog about it,
So why'd you do it?
I just felt like there was so much in it. There's so many lessons, and it was funny. Fish out of water, like he's coming into our house. My wife owns Spanx. I mean, like the whole dynamic of this shit was crazy. And I just felt there were a lot of lessons that could be learned through it. And, I just took a shot at it.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, he's a maniac. When he did the podcast, I got here, he showed up super early. And when I got here, he was already with his shirt off doing chin-ups. I was like, I walked into the back where the gym is, and he's in there. I'm like, Look at this motherfucker.
Amazing.
Yeah, he's a savage.
Yeah.
He's legit.
But these are all the lessons, like
Yeah.
as you're talking about, and you don't know where the nuggets come from. You put yourself in a position for the nuggets to appear. And they don't have to be radical positions like I'm going to go get Goggins or I'm going to go live with a monk. They don't have to be radical. But you put yourself out there like you were saying, and you live a life where those lessons find you.
Yeah.
And then
and seek them.
You seek them.
Yeah. Well, Goggins' story is so fascinating because he wasn't that guy. He was fat and out of shape and unmotivated and lazy and, talked openly about the first time he ran. Like he quit. He was supposed to, he ran about 3/4 of a mile, I think he said, and quit. And he was exhausted and just drinking milkshakes and all fucked up. And somehow or another decided he's not going to be that guy anymore and went 180 degrees and became this intensely motivated Ironman.
Yeah. Yeah, I was at the race. I saw him at the race where he broke all the bones in his feet, I saw him. I participated in that race. It's the first time I saw him. That's how I met him. And 2007. And
He broke all the bones in his feet?
He broke, he was running 100. I was running this race. It was a 24-hour race as a relay team. I was with 4 friends. And the format of the race is, you run a mile, I run a mile, whatever team runs the most amount of miles wins the race. He had no teammates.
That sounds
I'm like where's the rest of the team?
That sounds like him.
And he weighed a lot at the time. So, I watched him.
Weighed a lot. Was he bodybuilding at the time?
He was just big, probably weighed 260, 70 pounds, maybe
when
more.
He was deadlifting and all that stuff?
Yeah, maybe even more.
So was this the one where he ran 24 hours all around just to show that he could run 100 miles?
Yes.
And he wound up shitting himself?
Yes.
And all that? Yeah, he told me about that.
I saw it.
I didn't know he broke all the bones in his feet,
He broke some bones, yeah.
He didn't even tell me about that. And then he ran a marathon a month later.
Yeah.
He's a fucking animal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he really is.
Yeah.
And he was telling me also that
Explain
he did
that to your wife when you say he's coming to live with you.
You don't know my wife. That ain't happening. She's kick us both out.
I just said it really fast. I told Sarah because I flew out to meet Goggins after the race. I cold called him, and my wife asked me how the meeting went. And in the meeting, I realized like I kind of wanted to get the secret sauce. Like, what the fuck, try,
Yeah.
And
was that the idea? Like,
yeah, I was like
by being around such an intensely motivated guy, that you would get the rub.
Get the rub, and I'd fallen into routine I couldn't get out of, and I just, I was like, just get me out of my routine, man,
Right.
And I want to learn from you and that kind of thing. And my wife asked me how the lunch meeting went, and I told her that he's coming to live with us. She was like, "What?"
So you had this lunch meeting with him, and were you going to propose this before the meeting?
I went to. What happened was I went to the meeting and with no real agenda other than like I want to meet this guy, man. It's 2007. I want to meet him. 2008, something around there was 10 years ago, and I was just so like drawn to him, and I actually went home and then asked him to come, live with me, and he said yes, and then I told my wife after, like this guy's coming in 2 days.
Now, why did he say yes? I mean, isn't he busy? Did you offer him money? Like, how did this?
No, he was he was active. He was still in the military at the time, and yeah, I think I don't know exactly what triggered. I remember asking him to come, and I remember him saying to me, "If you're crazy enough to ask a guy like me to come live with you, motherfucker, I'm crazy enough to come." 3 days later, he shows up with one bag.
Knowing him, that is exactly what it would sound like if he said it with those crazy eyes.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Sweetie, this is David.
Wow. Did you give him an objective? Did you say why you wanted him to come, or what you were trying to get out of it?
At that time in my life, I had just left. If I have my timeline right, I think I just left this private jet car company I had, Marquis Jet. I was just starting out in this coconut water business, and I was in a routine. I was in a rut. I was just doing the same stuff, man. I was so comfortable, And I was just like, just come shake it up, man. You can travel with me. I got some meetings coming up. We'll live together. There was no book. There was no anything.
Right.
The book happened years later. And he said he would do it.
That's crazy that he just agreed.
I loved it, by the way. It was
Did
one
you?
of the best months of my life. I
Really?
loved being around him. He's an amazing guy. I loved, we were watching games. We were working out. I was going out midnight, 3 a.m. We were running in the blizzards.
3 a.m.
One day, he was like, we're going to run 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours. Joe, I was like, I got to work. He's like, no, you don't. No, you don't. You can work in 48 hours.
Wow.
So I would wake up at midnight. We started at midnight. We would run, let's say it took us 40 minutes. And then we would come back. We'd have, 3 hours and 20 minutes of rest. And then at 4 a.m. we'd go again, 4 miles. Boom, 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 48 hours.
Jesus Christ.
One time, I have fucking a million stories. I mean, we went in the sauna, and he's like, all right, we're going to stay in the sauna for, and I'm a sauna guy. I thought I was a sauna guy, by the way. I thought I was. And actually, this was the steam. And he's like, we're going to stay in here for 30 minutes, 8 ounces of water. Okay. We jack it up. It's fucking cooking in there. I walk in, I'm like, holy fuck. It's so hot in here. He sits down. He's whistling Dixie. Like sitting in the corner doing his shit. I'm like, 8 minutes in, my water's gone. I've already drank my 8 ounces of water. And about 19 minutes in, I'm like, Goggins, I got to get out. He's like, you can't get out. I'm like, no, I'm gonna pass out. I got to get out. He's like, you can't get out. I'm like, no. And I didn't even wait for him to say no again because I'm about to pass out. I can feel myself about to pass out. I open up the door. All the smoke from the steam room goes flying out of the door. I sit right in the chair. He comes storming out. And he looks at me. He's like, oh, fuck, you don't look good. I go, no, I'm going to pass out. He goes, we got to abort. Abort the mission. Like, we're not doing the rest of the 30 minutes. Like, I got to pass. That was the only pass I got.
Because you almost died in the sauna. Or the steam room.
I was fucked up.
Steam room's different because it's moisture.
And you're taking it in. I was taking in, like, the eucalyptus.
You're getting cooked.
Cooked.
Yeah, I mean, you're really getting cooked. It's not like, with sauna, you're getting, like, kind of dry roasted. But in the moisture is different. Like, you can't get as hot in a steam room as you can in a sauna.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this was a series of these, just,
Getting poached.
Throughout the,
God. No, he would just make these up, like, come up with these ideas.
It was just constant, man. Like, I mean, we would go to work. We'd be sitting at work, and I'd have like a 30-minute break, and he'd be like, burpee test. Like, what? I'm at work. He'd be like, I want to see how many burpees you can do in 10 minutes. I'd be like, burpee test. And I would, like, in the middle of work, I would, like, get down, take off my, whatever I was wearing. I would get, like, my boxers or whatever, like, just to get, and I would do as many burpees as I could in 10 minutes. And be soaking wet, and I'd walk into my next meeting, and everybody knew that was part of the thing.
So you explained to all these people that wow,
closed every deal. I closed every deal, man,
because you're so amped up.
But plus, he was there. Who's going to say no? It was people were fascinated. I'd walk in, and they'd be like, at the end of the meeting, I'm like, "Do you want to talk?" It's like, "Whatever the fuck you guys are in, we're in. We're in."
Wow. That sounds so much better than living with a monk.
It was.
That sounds so much better.
It, I miss him.
Yeah. Do you keep in touch?
Well, yeah. And we go. I haven't spoken to him in a while, but yeah. I mean, I've known him since 2007 now. I mean, it's been 10 years.
Wow. Yeah, I would think that would be hard but exciting, whereas the monk thing seems like the drone of it all would just get to you.
Yeah, and like I couldn't go back to my room and my surroundings in the monk thing. I was like in their world
forever. And they live in the same way that you did? They have a little cell as well?
Yeah. I actually didn't see their rooms, but yeah, from what I understand, even smaller than what I was in. I was in
smaller than this table?
My room was about the size of this table.
So theirs was smaller?
From what I understand, yeah.
How's that even possible?
bed. What? There's no position. There's no, like just a little bed and
Just go into a space with a
Yeah.
bed. Blackout.
Yeah.
Wake up. Start all over again. Drone.
yeah.
No, I think the 4 miles every 40 minutes or whatever the fuck it is, or 4 miles every 4 hours, that sounds way better.
Yeah.
That sounds crazy.
I did at the
but
time, but yeah.
how'd you end it? How did he end the 30 days?
He left me a note on a Post-it. Thanks.
That's it?
That's it.
Jesus. That's intense. Thanks.
Yeah. Thanks.
Wow. Jesus Christ.
My goodbyes are like long hugs,
Yeah, right.
exchanging shit, planning. Thanks.
That would be an incredible service. Like, if he wanted to do that, just go to like billionaires and just say you have to do what I tell you to do for a month. I bet a lot of people would do that.
I'm
You
sure.
know? Just
I'm sure.
charge some fucking stupid amount of money and have him live with you for a month.
You know, that's hard. Anybody, personality-wise, over time, having roommates, it's hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
So he's
hard,
with you
man.
24/7.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard.
Did he ever wake you up?
Every day.
Every day he woke you up.
Yep. Come in and tap me on the shoulder.
Time to get up. Let's do
With
let's
my
do
wife
this.
right next to me.
Jesus Christ.
It wasn't time to do this. It was, get up, motherfucker.
That's what he would say? Well, at least he was courteous. He whispered it so it didn't wake your wife up.
Yeah.
Was your wife like, what in the fuck are you doing?
She loved him.